dogfights in politics, soldiers sacrificing their lives for the safety of their country, and a very angry man with an interesting haircut and rockin' mustache. Let's learn about that today. World War II, probably the most heard of war across the planet, and for a good reason. Well, maybe not a good reason, but there definitely is one.
Now, one could argue that World War II had multiple different starting points, and they wouldn't be wrong. Japan and China were going through some conflicts with each other around that same time, and it caused the deaths of hundreds of thousands of innocent Chinese citizens. But someone could also say that World War II started when Hitler first rose to power in 1933.
But the most recognized starting point of the war was September of 1939, whenever German forces first invaded Poland.
Introducing Adolf Hitler, the leader of the Nazi regime. He was most famously known for his interesting choice in mustache style, heavy amounts of anti-Semitism, and his massive army of troops, tanks, and trucks. I shouldn't say this, but he's also a pretty scary looking guy. After leaving the Treaty of Versailles, which was a peace treaty formed after World War I, Hitler decided to use his power and invaded Poland like it was nothing.
Immediately after, Great Britain and France declared war on Germany. This led to the formation of the Allied powers, which would later consist of the United States, Soviet Union, and China. During the early stages of the war, the Royal Air Force and the German Luftwaffe had an airborne battle over the skies of Great Britain, which marked the first major German defeat in World War II.
Obviously, the result of the battle was a British victory, which had prevented Germany from achieving air supremacy. Let's check out some of the footage.
Shortly after this occurred, Hitler started an invasion of the Soviet Union, which is now known as Operation Barbarossa. The main goal of this attack was to destroy communism and to repopulate Western Soviet Union with Germans.
Even though the German forces had the advantage over the Soviet Union with their surprise attack, they still ended up losing due to a lack of strategic planning. I mean, come on. Really, Hitler? You're just gonna send in all of those troops without a true battle plan?
Oh wait, what's that? USA has entered the war? During these conflicts, the United States made sure to keep the problems in Europe and did not have to fight anybody, but that all changed when Japan, a member of the Axis powers, had attacked a US naval base in Honolulu.
Pearl Harbor was an airborne attack by Japanese forces on a naval base stationed in Honolulu, Hawaii. This attack was both shocking and devastating for the United States, and it sparked a fire of courage in the brave people of our country. Just 30 days after the initial attack, the U.S. Army had over 134,000 new troops that were signed up and ready for the next invasion of Europe.
Wait, it's time for the book of the day. Let's check it out. Whoa. Wait a minute. Well, anyway.
On Tuesday, June 6th of 1944, the largest seaborne invasion in the history of the world occurred on the beaches of Normandy, France. This battle was a pretty big deal. This was the first time that the United States had ever sent troops into Europe during World War II.
This battle marked the beginning of the liberation of Western Europe by the Allied forces. Allied troops were sent into 5 different sections of the beach on Higgins boats.
Unfortunately, immediately after the soldiers were deployed from the boats, they were stormed with heavy machine gun fire from the German soldiers stationed at the top of the beaches in fortified bunkers.
Like how in World War II there was bunkers, I'm hiding in my bunker right now.
Okay. Well, anyways, with hundreds of bullets constantly flying around them, the Allied forces persevered and pushed forward into the beaches, but they were met with another problem, an added bonus of difficult terrain to traverse.
Now, this was no easy task because the beaches were lined with mines, wooden stakes, barbed wire, and even metal tripods to try to slow down the soldiers' advance. Ultimately, the Allied forces claimed the victory, and it also led to the further claim of Western Europe, which led to the end of fighting in the entirety of Europe.
Here's an important fact to remember. During the battles between the Axis powers and Allied forces, the Holocaust was still occurring. The Holocaust was responsible for hundreds of millions of deaths of Jewish civilians during this time. Millions and millions of innocent Jewish civilians were led to their deaths inside of concentration camps. This forced the remaining Jewish population to go into hiding.
Like how Jewish civilians had to hide during the Holocaust? That's what I'm doing right now.
Wow, very interesting, I guess. Well, although Hitler had taken his own life at the end of the war in Europe, there was still plenty of fighting to be done in the Pacific Ocean. Introducing the Japanese foot soldiers. Famously known for their ruthless combat and their overwhelming attacks, the Japanese soldiers was the US military's worst nightmare. The US military and Japanese forces ended up fighting two major battles, which are now known as the Battle of Okinawa and the Battle of Hiroshima. The main purpose of these two battles was to turn the islands into military bases so that the US forces could have an advantage over Japan whenever they did their first inland invasion. And although the US won both of the battles, they decided that it was best to just drop the atom bombs instead of doing an actual invasion of mainland Japan. After the bombs were dropped, Japan had no other choice but to surrender to the US, and that marked the official ending of World War II. All in all, millions of people lost their lives because of this singular war, and it is still remembered in today's history books. My name is Aiden. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye-bye!